This episode of Low Income Dreams is sponsored by Chef Kim Mahan's Class Cooking in downtown Vancouver, Washington. Chef Kim's small group gourmet cooking classes offer students a hands-on learning experience, and her catering and event planning services have received rave reviews from clients and guests alike. Visit class-cooking.com to learn more.
Hi, welcome to Low Income Dreams. I'm your host, Sean.
What you doing?
I'm recording a show.
Ooh, I want to help. Hi, I'm your host, Nadia.
No, I'm the host.
Oh, okay. Today's guest is
Sports Journalist
Jeff Weisinger. Hey viewers, welcome to Low Income Dreams. I was trying to be like those sexy radio people.
No, that's perfect.
I would just keep going. My name is Nadia. My co-host is Sean.
Mm-hmm.
And today's guest is Jeff Weisinger. He's a sports journalist. And so Jeff, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Great to be here. I love the complimentary Uber pool ride.
Hey, don't tell people about that, okay? They're going to be expecting the same thing.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm just kidding. It's not Uber pool. It's Lyft.
Actually, I just had my neighbor. I was like, hey, can you go pick up my friend down the block?
His name's actually Lyft.
So welcome, and tell us about the dream.
To pay rent. To be able to do something you love and make money out of it. I think I had an old soccer manager of mine say, you turn your hobbies into paychecks, and it's kind of I guess in a way that's kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah, great. So tell us about how sports journalism. This has been a long journey for you, which actually didn't begin with sports journalism. So tell us about the beginnings.
It's going on about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of count it from when I started back with the Ohlone College Monitor newspaper.
Okay.
In late 2008, early 2009, and then I got to the Tri-City Voice that May of 2009.
Okay.
And was there for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. Actually, 2 years. And it's been a ride. It's been a ride. Met a lot of people, a lot of experiences. A lot of trash stories, a few good ones, one really good one, mostly trash stories. But it's been fun so far. It's really it's been an adventure that goes more beyond just straight the job itself.
Yeah.
You kind of learn about yourself a little bit. You kind of learn a lot of perseverance. Because people tell you, when you work in a creative kind of field. When people tell you how bad you are or something, it's easy to kind of not want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And for me, it's kind of just motivation. Yeah. I did a bad story. You learn from it, and you kind of just go on, or you make a mistake, you kind of move on, and you learn from that. You learn not to do it again. Yeah. Whatever the case may be. So, but yeah, it's really been right. It's been a ride of just learning about myself, self-discovery. And I get to go to pretty cool stuff, so yeah. I can't complain.
Well, now with sports journalism, I mean, because sports has now become just huge compared to how it was, back in the day.
I would say it's growing.
Yeah, a lot of coverage. I mean, multi-billion-dollar companies now, right? And there's a lot more people that's more interested in sports journalism. What is it that keeps you motivated to stay in it? What was that turning point where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna make this into my career?
I can't do anything else. It's for me, it's really just, if it's not sports journalism, I better find a new career stat.
So you're just going all out then?
Yeah, I mean, I've been, from the support I've had from friends, family, and a very supportive girlfriend, to just the opportunities that I've had. you don't get when you have both. When you have both of those combined, you have to go after your dreams. You have to go after what you want to go after because then you're just wasting people's time and resources.
Right.
Whether it's emotional support, financial support, whatever the case may be, and people kind of like really pushing you, and you don't want to let them down. So I think it's that kind of thing where you're not just doing it. You're not just going after something for yourself. You're kind of going after something to kind of prove everyone else's support right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So tell us about some of the highlights in this journey.
I interviewed some rapper, Ice something. No, actually, one of it is I interviewed 2 months ago. I interviewed Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Which was probably the most realist interview ever, the most authentic interview ever. A lot of people when you do the one-on-one interviews, whether it's a phone interview, you interview them in person, they have the whole PR face on, which is normal, and I get it. But I did a phone interview with Ice Cube. I was doing a story on the Big Three, his basketball league.
Correct.
His 3-on-3 league. The championship was at the Barclays Center. So long story short, his PR firm, Sunshine Sachs, they work with the Big Three, so they email me and tell me the game's going to be in Brooklyn. So I'd be like, do you want to talk to anyone? And so it was like, they're like, oh, we offered Jeff Quatnitz, who is the CEO of the league. I interviewed Corey Maggette, one of the players on the Power, who ended up winning the whole thing. And so I reached out, I'm like, is there any way I can interview Ice Cube? I just, just shoot your shot. And so I'm on the way to my soccer practice, and I'm in Grand Central, and I'm like on the phone ready to do a phone conference with Ice Cube in the middle of Grand Central during rush hour because why would it be easy? So I found a corner inside the MetLife building, pretty much right at Grand Central by the escalators going in, and we did like a 5-minute phone interview, and it was the most he is completely genuine.
Nice.
Like he is who he is. Like there's no face with him, right? He was on his phone. I'm convinced he did the interview in his car. I think someone opened a car door and I heard like that little beeping sound.
Right.
And I was like, cool. Like he's doing this he's chilling in his car, and I'm just in the middle of like one of the busiest train terminals in the country. This feels right. But he was really cool. It was a really dope interview. I think I lost my mind after interviewing. I did a phone call with Ice Cube.
You basically texted me
amazing.
immediately right after, man. That was
then,
awesome.
Actually,
cool.
you texted Sean, and then he called me. We were both working,
Right.
and he goes, "I'm in the hills," and he's like, "You'll never guess what just happened." I was like, "What?" And I'm like driving down this windy road, and I'm just like, "What? Are you kidding me?"
That was wild, man.
It's okay. That was pretty much me the rest of the way of training.
I mean,
I'm literally. It's funny because you see a lot of people especially in Grand Central of all places, and especially coming out of the MetLife building, you see a lot of people on the phone. They're doing business calls and this and that. And I'm like on the phone with Ice Cube.
I know, right? No one even knows. You just walk around.
And I was just chilling. I'm like, I'll hop on the 7 train to go to Queens, and I'm just like, I just talked to Ice Cube. This was dope.
Yeah, you have people arguing about their baby mamas, and then you over here just like, oh, what's up? What's going on, Cube?
Really, that's kind of what happened. People talk about portfolios, baby mamas, and I'm on the phone with Ice Cube, who's like a legend.
That's awesome, man.
But the greatest part of it was just he was just so authentic.
Yeah.
He was just so genuine. It was a 5-minute call, but once we started talking about the Big Three, and because he's insanely passionate about the league, and it's grown so much, and it's done better in year. In my opinion, it's done better in year 2 than I think the first year. They kind of like just trying different things, and just kind of winging it.
Yeah.
And the second year, they kind of got a bit more organized, kind of realized where they could get better, and you saw the growth, and I think he's hype about it. Really. Wow. You'll see him lose his mind, I think, when Kobe joins the league. I don't know when that's going to be.
It's going to happen.
We all think it's next year. I think everyone's placing bets at this point on the over-under the amount of years that Kobe's going to join the league. But I think that's going to be really... We've seen him hype now for the Big Three. It'll be a whole new level for him if Kobe joins the league.
Of course. Now, I mean, you actually got a chance to do some really cool things throughout your career. I mean, you basically covered almost every Bay Area sports team. I think one of the coolest thing was that we went to a Raiders game, my family and I, and then you text me, you're like, "Hey man, I'm here at the game." I'm like, "Where?" You're like, "I'm on the field." And then like I was looking down.
Now for what it's worth, like I didn't text you during the game because the NFL would have came after me for that. Yeah, I think And you and I growing up, we always talked about being on the Raiders field, being in,
Yeah, it was
being,
awesome, man.
being in the toilet bowl that is the Oko. And
We all took our different paths to that field, but we both made it.
yep. And then we made sure to flush on the way out.
You know?
Yeah, that was actually really cool, just being on it. I mean, it was, for me, there's two places I've been very fortunate to be on the grounds of. That's, the O.co and Yankee Stadium. And yeah, even last year when I was at ABC, just going down to the pregame every home game, it was just like, I just kind of pictured in my head like the dream I had of wanting to play football. Not that it's ever any good, but the dream I had of wanting to play football, wanting to be on that field, and just knowing what that, just kind of, but also like knowing what that stadium and what that team means to the city, what it means to Oakland, what it means to the East Bay, what it means to the Bay Area, and being down there, I was like, wow, like, and this every time. Look, I could go down there. Was it next week when they're home?
Mm-hmm.
I can go down there next week, and I will still have that same excitement, that same kind of like, oh my God, I'm on the field in Oakland, and I do the same thing at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
When I'm on the field for the New York City FC games, just walking up to third base dugout and just walking onto the grounds, I'm just like, how did I end up here?
Yeah. No,
I took my dad to a game a couple years ago. I took my dad with me to a game, and he shot with me, and the same feeling I had going on, I think he had it tenfold.
That's awesome.
And it was like watching the kid in the candy store.
Yeah.
A kid in a toy store like that. It was so cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just chilling and
I think it's awesome when your parents get that much invested in what you're doing, because
right.
when I was working for the Raiders, I told my dad that I met Cliff Branch, and my dad like flipped out because Cliff Branch was like his era, right? And I told him that he let me hold the Super Bowl rings and all that. And then I remember when Nadia and her dad were at the Raiders game, because I got them tickets and I was working there, and then we got into the parking lot. And sure enough, Cliff Branch is like walking in the parking lot. And I'm like, oh, what's going on, Mr. Branch? And then I heard Dad was like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, are you talking to him right now? And I was like, yeah.
The crazier part was when that day for the Raider game, that was actually the day Derek Carr got hurt.
Yeah.
I've taken a lot of heat for that. But I didn't go before, and he was totally fine. So apparently it's my fault. But I'm like, you and everyone's losing their mind. I'm watching you guys just jump into seats, and I'm like, it's pregame. I'm like, I'm not even like suited up. Like, what are you doing? And it was so cool. But that also just goes back to having that support system.
Yeah.
When you're doing something even as minuscule, as minute as being on the field, being on the sidelines, being on the Raiders sidelines, or something like that, to have like the people who support you kind of like losing their shit because you're right there. It's awesome. And yeah.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, support is like the key thing, because I mean, just like any other one of us that's like following their dreams, it's kind of tough to go through your dreams by yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm fortunate enough to have Nadia by me, and vice versa. Yeah. Hopefully,
yes,
she agrees.
So, I agree with that.
Keyword, hopefully.
So,
like, I think at this point you have her support.
So, but it's that is a big thing. That is a real big thing, because sometimes when you're following your dream, you don't even know if that is the right path. Then sometimes you start thinking like, man, like, am I doing the right thing and whatnot? But then when you have other people who's like mind blown by the achievements you have already achieved, I think it's really cool.
Well, it pushes you when you think about it, because there are, whenever you're going for something greater than yourself, there's always those moments where it's like, where you want to quit, where it just seems always like, can I do this? Can I really do this?
Right.
Yeah. And then you think about your support system, and it's like, well, if I quit, I'm going to let this person down. I'm going to let these people down. I'm going to let so-and-so down. And I would love to call it normal human psychology, would say you don't want to do that. You don't want to let those around you down.
Correct.
And so that kind of pushes you. And there are a lot of people who, like, circumstance happens and stuff happens. So I'm not saying, like, those who couldn't follow their dreams, like, oh, they quit and they're bad. I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
But if you have the opportunity to go after what you want to go after, I fully believe you do it. I fully believe you give it everything you got.
Yeah.
And whatever happens, obviously. But even if you do end up quitting, even if you have to quit for whatever reason, always quit knowing you gave it everything you could. Like, you did everything possible you could.
I like that. Yeah. Did you ever have, we talked about some of the highlights. Did you ever have like a lowest point that you can remember?
Yeah, going to Berkeley. No. I wanted to lie about that. No, there were some low points in Berkeley. I to be honest with you, at the J school, mainly I think that's just because of the way the J school operated.
So J school mean journalism.
Journalism school,
Okay.
yes, journalism school. We call it J school. People call it journalism school. Others call it a waste of time.
Every time you said J school, I kept
think
in
of
my
junior.
joints. Oh, you say junior? I keep my joints. I'm like, oh man, you smoking
Joints?
on Berkeley? I mean, just Berkeley. Okay, my bad.
That's
so
actually
we're
pretty fair.
talking about journalism school.
But that's also pretty fair, surprisingly. No, I mean the J school. I learned so much at Berkeley, and this is not to knock the J school, not to knock them at all. But there were the way they went about things as far as being more of like a feature length kind of stories. Like they didn't really do. I come from a newspaper background, so like we used to regular beat writing and this and that. Mm-hmm. And I remember I had a professor whose name I will not mention for the sake of this podcast, because of the 15 people watching this, obviously there may be one person who knows someone. But they told me, you don't want to just. It was a quote. You don't just want to be someone who just goes to games and writes, and covers the team. And I'm just like, that's kind of what I want to do.
Right.
Like I like this sounds so selfish, and I'll probably lose all my credentials for this, but I like getting paid to go to games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not, bro?
But I also like the food that these teams like to give,
Yeah.
minus Oakland because they don't really feed us. But but I do enjoy that part. And so when I heard that, I was just like, "Am I in the right profession? Like, can I really do this?" And I had to find different ways to go around it. And I was really asking myself, like, can I actually do this in the way that they're kind of molding me to do this? Can I do? Is this really what I'm supposed to do? Whether or not their ways worked is really yet to be seen. I'd like to say I'm done well in with where I'm at, but I know I could do that much better.
Okay.
The sports journalism field is very interesting nowadays, especially because everything's online.
Yeah, social media, man.
Social media goes a long way. You have sports blogs like no tomorrow. Within the next 5 minutes, someone just launched a sports blog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Covering some team, covering some sport, whether it's a major sport, whether it's an e-sport, especially nowadays, whether it's something, whether
Everyone's
it's
doing something.
whether it's Quidditch,
That's true. UCLA.
You
Don't get
know,
me started on
someone-
that.
So I mean, there's so many. So like, it's. I feel this. The field is so kind of I guess, for lack of a better term, saturated. Because literally everyone can be a sports. Almost.
I mean, it's just like starting a YouTube show.
Right, and I think so. So I think that we do. I think that, and it kind of goes back to Berkeley, where it's like, okay, I went there to be a qualified journalist, to learn everything I can, and I have, as far as like interviewing technique, as far as writing for narrative, photography, video, whatever, all that stuff. But in an era where everyone can do something, why would they hire me? And I kind of say it's like, why? I still feel like I should get hired because I'm qualified for it, rather than someone who's just kind of been around and just doing it.
Of course.
But they will also get to someone who's been doing it because they're cheaper.
But now going off of that, because there's so many people that's in the same field, I feel like based off of your track record, you've been basically like an innovator as well too, which is a big thing, especially in such a big field, because
I've had to.
Yeah, well, exactly. So like, I mean, like going back to like minor league football, you started the whole with the camera interviewing players.
Well,
and
we
stuff like
started
that.
it. I won't take full credit for that.
You
but
threw
we
me in that mix. That was your
Right.
idea. And then in college with the magazine and everything, you took that to the next level. And then
I just want to give a quick background on that. So Jeff played semi-pro football for the San Jose Vikings, and Sean was actually they together started doing videos.
hold
interviewing
up.
players.
You was the camera woman too.
I did photography. The three of us would go out onto the field. Jeff would play. Sean would interview players. I was taking photos.
And then they pretty much carried me home because I was just getting whooped. But
But it was just the innovation, I guess. Or
I think it's
innovative?
just kind of seeing. I guess I want to say it's called seeing the future.
Yeah.
And seeing what could be done. I fully believe in experimenting and taking shots, and whether it fails or not,
Right.
fine. If it failed, it failed. If it didn't work, it didn't work.
I think the
Could've
last
done better.
thing that you worked on though that was like actually really good was that documentary that you did for the soccer team
For LAFC.
for LAFC. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that was phenomenal.
They liked
because
it.
you pretty much shine light on a fairly new organization and their fans, and you showed how big their fan base is and how they make a soccer game into a whole celebration, which in my opinion, American soccer sucks. But seeing that, I was like, holy shit! Like there's actually
There's
a
hope.
real
There's hope.
there's
for
hope. There's hope for it. But then
Yeah,
there's like a whole community around.
I think
it.
the one thing that, well, there are other sites that do it way better than we did. Sites like Copa 90, 442. They do a lot. They do a lot of great stuff. And so when we did the One for LA project, which was called One for LA on Vimeo, when we pitched the story, because I knew, knowing Berkeley, we couldn't just follow the team.
Okay.
It wouldn't just be a thing where you would see like All or Nothing or Hard Knocks or something like that. So we had to find another angle. And the one thing I've noticed from just being in the scene and kind of keeping an eye on LA and LAFC was that they did a great job of combining the club with community, which if you go anywhere else in the world, the club is the community. The community is the club. You go to Argentina, if you go to Europe, especially, South America, Europe, even in Asia, where the game is growing exponentially now.
Yes.
The club is community. Community is the club. So, seeing that, and you don't see, you're seeing that a lot more in MLS now, and even in USL for that matter, but it's not to the same extent. But seeing the way LA does it was fascinating. I was like, okay, so there's a club that they kind of is not just a player, it's not just a coach, it's not just a stadium, it's really everyone. It's really like all of Los Angeles, all of downtown Los Angeles, and you saw the impact from both ends of it. And this is a club culture that was actually abandoned and actually was disrespected by Chivas USA, which is who LAFC replaced. So when we went into that, I was like, okay, the story is really about this culture, this community, more so than a team.
Right.
And we wanted to shine light on that. We want to show positive,
But how'd you even think about focusing on that community aspect? Because
no one else, not many. I don't want to say no one, but not many others go that route.
Right.
Everyone's gonna follow a lot of people follow the teams.
Right.
They follow the teams and they focus with the teams. They focus with the club specifically. No one really goes outside of the supporters. So we went outside the supporters.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, no one else is doing this.
Yeah.
I want to say finding a niche. I would just say it's where the stories should be. I think, again, like this is the American game is still very young. This is a game, people just started taking soccer seriously 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
8 if you want to go back to as far as 2010 when the South Africa World Cup run. So there's still good. U.S. soccer culture is still gonna it's gonna get in its own way. A lot of it's the league. Some of its supporters trying to be too much like Europe. They might have watched Green Street Hooligans too much.
It's a great movie.
It is, but a lot of people just they kind of watch it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of hope for soccer culture here, and I think people are ready for something new outside the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball,
Yeah.
that's able. But I think people are ready for something new and something different, and I think they're slowly starting to gravitate towards it.
Yeah.
But to gravitate towards it, the difference with soccer compared to other sports, the clubs more or less they make the community feel like part of the club.
Yeah.
When you go into it, it's not just you're not just a season ticket holder. You're not just a supporter. You're kind of you're kind of part of the reason the club actually exists.
Correct.
And there's that back and forth. I think LAFC has done a fantastic job with it.
Yeah.
New York City FC, the club I cover, more or less. They made a lot of mistakes early on, but they're starting to do a better job about it.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see other clubs. San Jose did it historically. San Jose was the ones who pioneered that, right? As far as being part of the community, being part of the city, and so everyone's starting to get to that point. Portland does a fantastic job about it. Seattle does a fantastic job about it. Columbus/Austin, they do a fantastic job about it because they're about to move to Austin. So you have all of that set, but it starts there. And I think the big three, American pro sports, can actually learn something from that.
Got it. So then, with all that being said, now, you have other, like, I guess, younger people out there that wants to do short sports journalism. What's like your best advice that you could give someone?
Don't. No. Run while you can. Honestly, just do it. And this kind of goes into anything. You can make anything into a career nowadays. You have people playing video games making 6 figures a year.
Yeah.
So true.
You got
on
people
YouTube.
If you think, on YouTube. There are
On
people,
YouTube, yeah.
There are people.
Twitch and all that.
Twitch
man.
is a monster. Let me tell you something. Twitch is A, is a future, and B, is a monster. But also, like, you have people paying other people. It's like $5, right? They pay for the subscriptions, and they're watching them play video games.
Yeah.
And the stigma, and there's several stigmas, and I think, and I've recently dived a little bit into esports and kind of like that whole culture and seeing it. The stigma is, okay, you play video games, you live in your mom's basement, you kind of a nothing. Okay, cool. So I live in my mom's basement. I'm a nothing. I make like I make like in a year what you make in like 5.
Yeah.
I do nothing. I make money.
So anything can be a career.
Esports is, there's so much money in it, and so much money from all these like gaming companies, from these tech companies. I recently covered the Overwatch League, the grand finals. We talked with one of the players for the Houston Outlaws, Ruckus. We were asking him like what his deal was like and everything. I won't go into details, but like that man's pretty taken care of.
Yeah.
Like we asked him like rent's taken, housing's taken care of, his bills and such. So like, what do you spend money on? He's like clothes and a dog walker.
Yeah.
That's all he spends money on. And keep in mind what the league is and what he's getting made from the league is base.
Yeah.
So you have your playoffs, you have your sponsors, your stage. If you win, because they do seasons by stages. So if you win your stage, you get that tournament bonus. So they're making like a mid-high 5 figures base, but they're taking home over 6 figures.
Yeah.
And so that can be a career.
So that's what you should
Surprisingly, that can be. I would love to do that. Trust
No,
me.
this is what you should do. I got a great idea. Because you already do the journalism part. You start playing video games and you cover it yourself.
I mean, I would do that. Well, so far I have one. Well, so
Right?
far, I have started my Twitch.
Jeff Weisinger, the biggest gaming guy ever, and you just blow yourself up.
Sponsored by Jeff Weisinger.
It would be the
I
most
have-
cockiest thing, but at the same time. Bro.
Oh no, I've seen cockier. Trust me, I met LA reporters that are cockier, have their own,
man.
have two who kind of go too far in. But I do have my own Twitch. I have one follower, my girlfriend. For a start,
Hey, you gotta start somewhere.
she's an active follower. She actually watches me play. But yeah, no. But like I was saying before, like anything can be starting to career. If you can play video games for a career, if you can, people can garden for a career. Whatever the case may be, if you're so passionate about something, you can turn that into a career.
Yeah.
You can turn your hobbies into paychecks. People can tell you, well, how you can make money doing this, how you can make money doing that. If you love what you do and you're dedicated to it, the money's going to come. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you think about how I'm going to make money doing this, how I'm going to make money doing that, if that's the only thing you're focused on, you're going to stress yourself out. You're not going to a point where you're not going to enjoy what you do anymore.
Yeah.
So love what you do, and the money's going to come.
Yeah, I like that, man.
Very
Well,
well said.
I think we're gonna wrap it up here, man. Appreciate you coming and hanging
This is
out.
fun.
Yeah, thank
This
you.
is fun.
Thank
No,
you
we're gonna
for
get you
coming
back
to
for
our
sure.
low-income apartment. And
Yeah. Welcome to the low income studio.
Again, the complimentary Lyft ride by Lyft was awesome. I
Don't
never
worry.
expected that.
See, it's complimentary because I'm gonna file a complaint to get my money back.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's how that works out. So anytime you need a ride,
I
let me know.
I didn't pay anything, so I'm happy.
Man, I appreciate it once again,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you
This is
so
great.
much.
This
And
is great.
those that are watching, hopefully you guys got some good tips, some pro tips from Jeff here. And
Pro tips
then,
is a stretch, but
Hey, man, you're a professional, man. You get paid to do what you love doing, so that's all that matters. Whether it's a lot or a little, no matter what. My first thing that I was told is the moment you get paid to do what you love, you're a professional now. And we're not doing it for free no more, so therefore we're professionals.
yeah.
exactly.
Maybe on the smaller level, but hey, we're still professionals.
Gotta start somewhere.
But thank you so much, man. Thank you again for everyone that's watching. Subscribe to all of Jeff's social media accounts. Follow him.
All 20 of them?
On everything he has. He has a personal, professional, and I think it was like a semi-pro Twitch account that's going on right now.
I have a semi-Twitch.
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 But yeah, any of you guys have any questions for Jeff, reach out to him. This man's available all the time because he's not doing much. Yeah. And
it's not far from a lie.
You know?
For more low-income podcasts, go ahead and follow, subscribe, and like this video, and we'll have more for you guys.
Yeah, I'm Sean, Nadia, and Jeff. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks. This episode of Low Income Dreams is sponsored by Chef Kim Mahan's Class Cooking in downtown Vancouver, Washington. Chef Kim's small group gourmet cooking classes offer students a hands-on learning experience, and her catering and event planning services have received rave reviews from clients and guests alike. Visit class-cooking.com to learn more.